and said, if we don't do something, we have to come out and announce. It was headlines. NFL, gambling scandal, night before the game, Chicago Bears and the New York Giants. He suspended one, Merrill Hapes, and let Phil Chalk, who was the quarterback, play in the game. The Bears did win the game, but after that game, he went to Davey O'Brien, who was his quarterback in Philadelphia years before, but had been hired by J. Edgar Hoover and was one of the best pistol shots in America, and said, I want to hire ex-FBI men to be in every city around the NFL. Today, they pay millions of dollars for these flatfoots that supposedly cover the teams, yet all these players still get away with certain things. But he was the first to hire ex-FBI men in each city, and also had a situation of where there was a phone in our house. One was black, one was red. Every week leading up to Sunday, on that phone were people like Frisco Legs and all of these characters who were gamblers that would give him the odds all the way up to game time. And if those odds changed too much, the ex-FBI people who are being paid by the league would go in the locker room and find out what happened. That could have finished pro football. You would never see what you see today if he hadn't taken that action. Now today, of course, we see they spend millions of dollars for it. But that game and what he did changed pro football history. If he hadn't done that, that would have been the end of it. So if you look at those different milestones in NFL history, what we have gotten to today, if all of these things hadn't happened, we'd be here talking about, some Sandlot team. So that's where we went from there.
Well, that's one of the things I found very interesting as I was working with Upton on the book, and hopefully readers will find it as well. It's a lot of these experiences that he had as a personnel director, as general manager of the Patriots, as an owner in the World Football League. His dad had as commissioner. A lot of things around pro football have obviously changed, but the basic stuff is the same. He talks about these FBI guys. Well, the Patriots had supposedly 3 or 4 guys in charge of Josh Gordon, who eluded them anyhow and ended up, of course, failing his drug test and going off. But in 1971, when Upton came to New England to become general manager of the Patriots, they had their own drug problems to deal with players. He brought in a guy probably not as, well, definitely not as successful as more successful rather than Josh Gordon. But similar situation, troubled guy, you bring him in, you take a chance on him. Upton took a chance on a guy named Dwayne Thomas, who had been a great running back with the Dallas Cowboys, who still gave the greatest interview ever in history, post-game interview in history, after they won the Super Bowl. He had not spoken the entire season to anybody, including his coaches, including Tom Landry, who's like you, so I'm not talking, just give me the ball, get out of my way. So finally, after they win the Super Bowl, and he agrees to be interviewed after the game by Tom Brookshire, who I believe it was Tom Brookshire, or Irv Ross, I think it was Brookshire. And Brookshire says to him, and Dwayne was a very smart guy, as Upton will tell you in a minute. And so he says, so what's it like to have won the ultimate game? So he looked at him for a second, and then he said, it's the ultimate game, why are they playing it next year? And it was like, wow! I didn't know what to say. That was the guy that Upton brought in 1971 to the win.
And it's interesting, again, jumping back and forth between then and now, is that the one thing from me, before me, to Belichick, to everybody today, when you see great talent, you look the other way. But what happens in the end when you look the other way, whether it's Dwayne Thomas, Fred Dreyer, Carl Garrett, or Josh Gordon, you're kidding yourself. And as originally a scout and a player, not a player, but as a scout that looked at players, I can tell you this, It never changes. In football, they are willing to take a chance, whether you've been in prison, whatever you've done. If you can play like Josh Gordon, they're going to give you a chance. The problem is, like everything else in life, it always ends up the same. Dwayne Thomas was the greatest running back since Jimmy Brown that I had seen. I traded for him, brought him in here. He lasted 3 days. He fell down the stairs. He missed the drug thing, the exam. The coach didn't want him here. Gone. Steve Kiner, in one of the great, of many moments that I've had, Steve Kiner also came with him. He was named one of the best linebackers in the league. If you can go back and find it somewhere, there's a game we're playing against the 49ers. I think the NFL films have it. The ball snapped, he's the linebacker.
I'll be Steve Kiner.
Go ahead. The ball is snapped. The play goes. The play's over. And he's still in that same position.
And after the game, he said, they asked him what he was doing, and he said, "It's pretty dangerous out there."
So finally, as good as he was, again, the gamble that I took, I brought him in to cut him in training camp the next year. I talked Shula, who had a much better situation in Miami. That was the year that they won undefeated, and that will never be broken.